My name is Toby, and this is a story of how I ditched school for a month to work at the airport. Originally, when I was given this opportunity to do whatever I wanted for a month, I contemplated using my piloting skills to take myself to Florida and teach myself how to get a tan. Then it hit me. I'll never get a tan. However, because I'm a student pilot and my parents won't let me go to Florida by myself, I could use my senior project to work at the airport and advance my piloting skills. After talking to airport managers about how I hope to become an aerospace engineer building rockets in the future and to become a certified flight instructor, we created a foolproof plan. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I'd work at the front desk, interacting with pilots, doing typical intern work, scanning paperwork, customer service, dispatching flights, locating keys, cleaning headsets, etc., etc. Then, on Tuesdays, I would trade in my collared shirt for a fashionable yellow vest and work with Mitch, our head of line crew, and fuel aircraft, marshal taxiing flights, and complete any other tasks that required harder labor. On Thursdays, I would alternate between completing maintenance work, which included putting planes back together, and shadowing flight lessons. Evidently, there's a lot that goes into aviation and airports aside just piloting. While it may seem like my days were repetitive or structured, I was often given freedom to explore. In other words, there was always stuff to do. One of my favorite memories began as a slow morning at the front desk. A grandmother walked into our lobby with a young boy and girl by her side. The girl was wearing an adorable Peppa the Pig shirt. The grandmother proudly exclaimed to the whole lobby, "My grandson is going to be an astronaut." Then the grandson replied, "Yes, first I learned to ride a bike, then drive a car, then fly an airplane, then ride in a rocket." My coworker and I laughed. "We may have something for you," we replied. Moments later, my coworker Veronica returned with wooden toy airplanes for the small boy and girl. Next, we pulled out our Tecnam light sport plane, which I then spent an hour giving the children a tour of. I let them try on my headset and get a view of the engine. The grandmother later pulled me aside and thanked me for not only showing her grandson the plane, but also her granddaughter. She was happy to see a young female pilot who would show her granddaughter that she can do it as well. This, of course, made my day. Additionally, each day after work, I spent 2 hours advancing my pilot training by either studying on the ground or taking flight. One afternoon, I actually had the privilege of taking my advisor flying. She's a brave soul. On another evening, which in particular was my favorite, I completed my night flight. According to the Federal Aviation Administration for night flight, each private pilot must have at least 3 hours of night flight, which officially begins 1 hour after sunset, and within this night flight, there must be 10 takeoffs and landings, and each pilot must complete one cross-country flight that is over 100 nautical miles at night. So, my instructor and I decided to complete it all in one night. What a challenge! We flew through Philadelphia, which is one of the world's busiest airspaces, and straight to Atlantic City International Airport, where large commercial flights followed us into the pattern. After completing 10 takeoffs and landings, we ventured back to Pennsylvania just before Tuesday night became Wednesday morning. We got back really late. It was definitely one of my favorite flights I've ever done. But one of the most important things I've taken away from this experience, besides the memory, is that the importance of human connection and what you can learn from each person. Throughout my time, I've met a number of people, all of whom taught me something new. First, there's Krista and Hani, who helped organize my project and served as my mentors. Then there's Veronica, a young skydiver who taught me how to use Flight Schedule Pro and file invoices. Then, there are numerous flight instructors who went out of their way to learn my name and offered me spot shadowing their flights. Next, there is Mitch, the head of line, who's actually a pastor in his off times. He served as a father figure, and from him I learned something new every day. Additionally, there were guys in maintenance, and two in particular, one who everyone called Dragon, and the head of maintenance, Joe. They both trusted me enough to take apart and reassemble the basics of airplanes, and for that, I'm grateful. And finally, of course, there was my flight instructor, Becca, who was the only female instructor at the airport. She's smart, kind, and just so happens to also use a booster seat to reach rudder pedals like I do. She's an amazing teacher, and I can truthfully say I've learned from the best. And while at times I struggled being one of only girls marshaling aircraft, poking around engines, and constantly being asked if it was bring your daughter to work day, I believe that in order to create representation and change, there must always be a first and second and a few more like me to join the industry. Who knows, perhaps one day I'll see that young girl wearing her Peppa the Pig shirt, but this time with a bright yellow vest.